Let's talk about a couple named Forrest and Jenny. Forrest and Jenny got together after they lost their first spouses. One passed away, the other one there was a divorce, but long story short, Forrest and Jenny started dating a little bit later in life, and then eventually Jenny moved into Forrest's house. So they were living there in that home, they were happy, and then Forrest had a stroke. And because of the stroke, he had some physical limitations, he had some cognitive impairment, and he needed skilled nursing care. This happens more commonly than you might think. So Jenny comes in to see us at Keystone Elder Law, and she asks, what's going to happen to the house? Now, the reason she asks that is because now Forrest is on Medicaid to pay for long-term care. Forrest and Jenny were not super wealthy people. They're a regular middle-class couple, and so Medicaid becomes part of how you pay for long-term care. So Jenny didn't realize it, but she was asking what happens to the house both for Medicaid and for taxes. These are the two big concerns. I'm Patrick Cauley with Keystone Elder Law, and here is the first question I'm asking in that situation. I'm asking Jenny, whose name is on the deed? Because if she moved into Forrest's house, they never got married, but they also never updated the deed, and it's just in Forrest's name, they might have a problem. If Forrest is on Medicaid, he's allowed to have a house and still be on long-term care Medicaid. But when he passes away, Medicaid tries to get paid back from anything that's in the estate of the Medicaid recipient. So if there's a house there, they're forcing the sale of the house and they're taking the proceeds of the sale to the government to get repaid for all that care. That's bad news on a lot of levels for Jenny because she will no longer have a house and all this money is not going to Jenny from the estate, it's going to the government. If the house is owned jointly, if they did update the deed and it's Jenny and Forrest on the deed, joint owners, well then the house will be safe from this estate recovery by Medicaid. They're not going to use the house to get repaid for care because Jenny will automatically become the owner. So that's good. However, there is a tax issue. If it's a married couple and there's two names on the deed, well, the one spouse passes away, the other spouse becomes automatically the 100% owner of that house, and there's no taxes for inheriting the 50% that was owned by the deceased spouse. When we're talking about an unmarried couple, it's a very different situation. Jenny will be inheriting the 50% that was Forrest's, and so the tax rate will be 15%. You have to take half the value of the house. If it's a $300,000 house, she's paying 15% of $150,000 to the government in inheritance taxes. So there's the Medicaid estate recovery issue. You kind of solve that by having both names on the deed. But there's also the tax issue. Is there going to be a 15% inheritance tax because it's an unmarried couple? So, and the other issue, of course, is what if Jenny dies first? Now, Forrest is on Medicaid, owns this house. That's not a problem for his eligibility, but again, the estate recovery will happen. Medicaid will force the sale of that house when he passes away. If he has children, they're not getting the money from that house. It's going to the government. So, what's the takeaway from all this? What's the solution? The best thing you can possibly do is at least 5 years before ever needing long-term care, put that house into a trust. It's called a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust, and it not only avoids the government forcing the sale of the house and having that money go to the government to repay them for all the care, but it also avoids that 15% inheritance tax. So it's a win-win situation, but it requires planning ahead, and too few people even know to do that. Now you know, so you can take action. Come see us at Keystone Elder Law. It's KeystoneElderLaw.com, 717-697-3223. Give us a call. Start planning now, especially if you are in an unmarried relationship and you want to protect assets.